What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right. So, before I get into this video, I also want to give a shout out to a couple of more people who sent birthday wishes for the Cash App. Much respect to the brother William Massey. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Shout out to William Massey for the $20 donation via the Cash App. And I saw your statement, and I believe that's a video request, your statement, which I agree with. And I believe that's a video request, and I will do a video on that tomorrow. So much respect to you for showing love to the channel. I also want to give a shout out to the brother Corey Alexander with the Cash App. He says, "Happy birthday, keep cooking." Much respect to you for showing love, brother. Salute to you. Also want to give a shout out to the brother Tony for the $5 donation via the Cash App. Much respect to you for showing love. And also William Massey showed love with another $20 Cash App. And he said, "Happy birthday. Compare today's stars to 80s and 90s stars." Okay, I will do a video on that. I will try to do it today, and the other video tomorrow. So much respect to you for showing love. Salute to you. And also want to give a shout out to the brother Brandon Wallace for showing love with a Cash App donation. And I did see that, and I'm going to talk about that either on Too Raw Media or Too Raw for TV. And last but certainly not least, shout out to the brother Marvin Johnson for the $44 donation via the Cash App. He says, "Happy birthday, brother." Salute to you, longtime subscriber. Salute to you, brother Marvin Johnson. Been around for a very, very long time. I want to thank all you guys, man. I really, truly appreciate it, man. I appreciate the love you guys have shown, man. I really, truly do. Blessed to be here another year. We're not guaranteed here to be here for 40 years. You know, I've seen people who I grew up with who are no longer with us, you know, whether it's through violence or other means, you know. But let's get to this. So on today's First Take, Stephen A. Smith claims that there are multiple black coaches that have taken issue with LeBron James's podcast. Now, this is going to be the censored version of this video. For the uncensored, unfettered, unfiltered version, please, if you can, sign up to the Patreon, where I can give my thoughts in a more unfiltered way. So, Stephen A. Smith says that, according to him, multiple coaches have taken issue with the podcast that he does with J.J. Redick. And it's not because he is white that the issue is. The issue is when you look at LeBron James's posturing with Darvin Ham. When you look at the fact that he did everything that you could imagine from a visual sense to display his lack of confidence in Darvin Ham's coaching ability, you know, not paying attention in huddles, rolling his eyes, constantly poo-pooing what Darvin Ham would draw up and just freelancing. Constantly referring to how he's, you know, his own coach and how he pretty much in the ends of games pretty much be the de facto coach himself. One time, even if I'm not mistaken, I remember saying it correctly, he drew up a play himself while Darvin Ham had his hands in his pockets. Constantly being insubordinate, when you ask me, to Darvin Ham, to the point where Other players in the team were following suit, not paying attention to Darvin Ham, being disrespectful in my opinion. And to the point where in the playoffs, we saw Anthony Davis start doing it. Like, and also another thing, people like LeBron James. I remember one time LeBron, he talked about how great a coach Tyronn Lue was, giving him a scintillating endorsement of his coaching prowess, but being lukewarm at best to his own coach, Darvin Ham. And then we seen, as I was going to say, Anthony Davis voiced his frustration and displeasure at Darvin Ham to the point where the spotlight was on Darvin Ham. And remember, there was a report a month before he got fired that he was going to be retained. Then LeBron does a podcast. He starts a podcast. I think it's called Mind the Game, right? He starts his podcast with J.J. Redick. While at the same time, still, if you want to be cynical at least, obliquely campaigning for Darvin Ham's termination. While at the same time saying, oh, I don't get involved in these matters. That's for the front office. BS. So, you know that LeBron James is a master of manipulation when it comes to the media. Not to mention the fact that Clutch Sports has a lot of power, a lot of influence. And then you start seeing all these supposed reports from sources that Laker players were tuning out Darvin Ham. They were frustrated with Darvin Ham. And that, reportedly, Darvin Ham isn't a good coach. Then also, I suspect a lot of times when we're on social media, you see all these people talking about how bad Darvin Ham is. A lot of these people, I think, are paid for bots to help sway public opinion. While at the same time, all this negative criticism of Darvin Ham is going on, every week there's a podcast that he's doing with J.J. Redick. And the podcast was there to showcase J.J.'s supposed brilliance and X's and O's and strategizing. And the fact that he's with LeBron James, who is still one of the top stars, if not one of the top players in the NBA, and you can't help but look at it as, okay, is he trying to basically, have this guy be doing a interview without doing an interview for the Lakers job? And then Darvin Ham ultimately gets fired. He ultimately gets fired. No doubt because of pressure from you-know-who, allegedly. And now all of a sudden J.J. Redick is at the helm. He's the leading candidate. Now, there's some people out there who wonder whether the whole Dan Hurley thing was just a charade or a charade just to make it seem like there was some competition for the job. So yeah, there are some coaches out there who are irritated, especially when you consider the fact that, look, Darvin Ham was fired despite having a 90 and 74 overall record, despite in his first year making it all the way to the Western Conference Finals, only to lose to the Denver Nuggets, who won the championship that year. And then this year, even though they were knocked out in the first round, they lost to the defending NBA champion Denver Nuggets. Now, also, if you look at the NBA landscape, J.B. Bickerstaff was fired despite having turned around a Cavaliers team. Of course, he had talent on the team, but still, in just 5 years, removed from the LeBron James era, the Cavaliers were in the playoffs. And this year, they were in the playoffs again. Ultimately, they did lose to the Boston Celtics, but it has to be mentioned that Donovan Mitchell didn't play the last two games of that series. And, they did play the Celtics, right? Yeah, they played the Celtics. Not only was Donovan Mitchell not in that series last 2 games, they did not have Jared Allen. They did not have, what's his name? He's played for Brooklyn. Karis LeVert. And the team they lost to in the NBA Finals 1 game away from a championship. So why are these players, J.B. Bickerstaff, Darvin Ham, fired, but then coaches like Quinn Snyder, who is having his 2nd losing season in a row, there's no smoke there? Why are interim coaches like Brian Keefe, who had an atrocious interim record, hired quietly and nobody bats an eye? But yet Mike Brown was almost in danger of not even being re-signed by the Kings, who haven't done nothing in 15, 16 years. So yeah, there is this feeling like, wait a minute, LeBron. We're trying to increase diversity in the coaching ranks. And look what you're doing out there in LA. But you profess to be this activist. So that's my take on that, at least the censored version. I'll do an uncensored version on the Patreon later on this evening. But anyway, tell me what you guys think.